If you're a piano teacher who's tired of correcting your students' hand position and not seeing long-term results, this video is meant for you. Without a doubt, hand position at the piano is important. We need that nice bridge created by our knuckles so that our thumb can pass underneath and we can have good facility at the piano. That said, so many of us have experienced frustration with trying to get young students to do that it might be worth it for us to look at how we're going about doing this for them. One thing that we often lose sight of is that playing the piano is about movement, not position. So if we can address the coordination of the body as a whole first, then that can help facilitate healthy hand use at the piano. Let me show you what I mean. Younger students often come in either slouched over the piano or maybe in their effort to sit up straight, they overdo it a little bit and get a lot of tension. Either of those options will not support good hand position, so it makes sense for us to address how they're sitting at the piano. First, we should look at bench distance so that they're not sitting too close or too far away. Here's how we can tell. If you look at where the elbows are in relation to your student's torso, that's how you can tell a good distance for them. If they're sitting too far, the elbows will be toward the front of the torso, and if they're sitting too close, they'll be toward the back. What we want is to have somewhere in between. We also need to look at bench height, of course, so that our students aren't reaching up or reaching down for the keys. In addition, we want to make sure that the legs free away from the hips, whereas if they're sitting too low, they would jam into the hips and that would cause tension there. As I said earlier, it's important to address the overall coordination of the body. Even though it might seem that the hips are unrelated to hand position, it might surprise you how that can affect everything else. Another thing we can do to help our students with how they sit at the piano is to teach them where the sit bones are. If you're not sure where they are yourself, you can put your hands underneath the seat of your pants, and they are the two bony protrusions that you can feel there. The sit bones are the bottom of the pelvis, and those round bones are meant to allow us to move from the hips so that when we have a shift at the piano, we can get where we need to go. So once you teach your students where their sit bones are, you can have them draw an imaginary line from the sit bones up to the head. I often find that when I do that with my students, it changes the way that they're sitting without me having to ask them to have good posture. All of that can be done in one lesson, but there's another element to helping our students have good hand position that needs to be taught to them over time, and that is helping them learn to use their arms. Very often, a poor hand position comes from students overusing their hands because they aren't accessing the whole body to support their piano playing. Learning to use the arms is an important first step to help them do that. In order to properly use the arms for piano playing, we need to access the back muscles that are meant to support them. Here are 5 ways that you can help your students do that. First, if it's possible, you could have them briefly lie down in your studio with their knees bent and feet flat on the floor, and just have them notice the contact of their back to the floor. It doesn't have to be a long time, even 30 to 60 seconds is okay, just to get them to notice their back. If that's not possible or you think your students won't want to do that, you could have them just stand against a wall and just notice the contact of their back against the wall. Second, you can have them trace the Latissimus dorsi. Those are very large muscles in our back that are meant to support our arms. They start down here at the sacrum, and they come up, and then they go over here, and then come under the arms to attach at the humerus. So you can do this with them starting down here, coming up, over, and up under the arms. Having that tactile sensation and tracing the lats is going to help them notice it and start to learn to access it to support their arms. Now that we've established more awareness of the lats, we can use this exercise to access them even further. It might be a little difficult for young students, so you'll have to use your judgment about that, but you'll have to learn the exercise first before you share it with your students. So we're going to try this together now. I'd like you to give yourself the weight of one of your arms so that if you were to let go, it would fall down. And you can try that a couple of times. Now this time, when you let go, instead of letting it fall, hold your arm there. You can even move it as if you're playing piano. What I want you to notice is, where are you holding that arm weight? Do you feel it up in your neck or your shoulder or in your bicep or forearm? We want to notice where we are integrating that arm weight into our body. And I'd like you to do this on both sides because it will probably feel different on your dominant versus non-dominant side. So once you've done that a couple of times, what you want to try to do is, again, remind yourself where the lats are. You can trace them again. And when you let go of your arm this time, see if you can integrate that arm weight into the whole back. Think of your whole wide back and how the lats really cover a lot of real estate back there. So when you let go of your arm, that's where you want to integrate it into your back. This is another exercise that you can do with your students, and I think young students might find it fun. I need to credit my teacher, Ariel Weiss, for this exercise, which she calls inside loop and outside loop. We will trace our inside loop first, so we're going to start up at the clavicle, and you're going to trace out through the shoulder, down through the bicep, down the radius, all the way to the thumb. So we're doing clavicle, shoulder, bicep, radius, thumb. And we'll do that one more time. Let's do that on the other side, starting at the clavicle, coming out through the shoulder, bicep, radius, and down to the thumb. We'll do it 3 times. Clavicle, shoulder, bicep, radius, thumb. One more time. And now connect the thumbs together and see if you can notice that inside loop from the thumbs all the way up to the clavicle. Now we'll trace the outside loop. We're going to start up here at the scapula and come around the back of the shoulder, down the tricep toward the funny bone, and then down the ulna to the pinky. Up at the scapula, down the tricep to the funny bone, the ulna, and the pinky. You can also do this, we'll do it a couple times a different way, from underneath. Some people prefer that. So we'll start back here at the scapula and then come down the tricep, funny bone, ulna, pinky. Starting back here at the scapula, tricep, funny bone, ulna to the pinky. We'll do the other side now. At the scapula, coming back down the tricep to the funny bone, down the ulna to the pinky. Again, the scapula, down the tricep, funny bone, ulna to the pinky. And let's do it that other way from underneath so you can see which works better for you. Coming down the tricep to the funny bone, ulna, pinky. And the same thing one more time. And now you'll connect those pinkies, feeling the outside loop from the pinkies all the way back to the scapulae. And connect the thumbs too, so you can feel inside and outside loop. And now we've got our arms nicely connected to our backs. We can also lead our students through another exercise to connect the back all the way to the fingers, and also to encourage them to keep an open channel wrist. This will work especially well for students who hold tension in their wrists. So we can have our students imagine a connection, an open channel from the back all the way through the shoulder, through their upper arm, through the forearm, thinking of the wrist as an open channel. Maybe you could use the word hollow, whatever works for your students. Open channel through the hand and to the fingers. And that's going to be in both directions. We think of that as a two-way street. So we're going to think from the fingers all the way through the hand, through that open channel wrist, through the forearm, through the upper arm, shoulder, all the way to the back, trying to access those lats again. You'll want to do that with your students on both sides. So thinking from the back, through the shoulder and upper arm, through the forearm, through this open channel wrist, through the hand and to the fingers, And then think from the fingers, through the hand and this open channel wrist, through the forearm, upper arm, and all the way to the back. I'd love to hear how this goes for you, so please feel free to share your experience in the comments. You can also download the free PDF in the details below, and that will give you further Alexander technique practices that you can use in your own playing and in your teaching. If you found this video to be helpful, please subscribe to the channel so that you know when we have new videos coming out.